Never quit your job within the first year. The story of your career is told by the history on your resume. Some history is positive, some is negative, but for the most part, everything that is on your resume is important. It tells a story. It's about you and your work. It tells the hiring manager, the potential employer, whether you're any good or not. It paints a picture as to what value you can bring to the company. It only takes 3 job histories to set a trend. It takes 3 job histories to determine whether you're worth anything or not. And the important part to understand is that you're writing that history. It's not history that happens to you. It's not history that happens because of some guy down the road or because some boss was an asshole. It's written by you. Now, are some circumstances in your control? Yes. Are some circumstances terrible? Some circumstances that are really, frankly, out of your control, where maybe a company just decides to close down and not give you any warning. Yeah, there's not a whole lot you can do about that. But is every situation going to be like that? Is every situation that awful that you're going to end up losing your job within the first year? No, it's not. It's all about you. It's all about building your resume, the predictive success that you're going to have with your next employer. And this is why it takes 3 data points, just 3, to set a trend. Just 3. You need 3 work histories to demonstrate longevity, consistency, resilience, responsibility, and dedication. That's all it takes. And so I'll just tell you, after working with many job seekers and being a recruiter, being on the other side of the table, being the hiring manager, if I see a resume and that person has worked full-time jobs for a year or less, I don't hire them. Many companies, many hiring managers I've talked to, they won't hire you either. So if you have the opportunity, build it for your future. Build your resume properly so that you don't absolutely destroy your life. So don't quit a full-time job within a year of employment. Now, I must let you know, when I'm talking about full-time employment, I'm talking about career employment. I'm talking about a career job. I'm not talking about a job. Now, if you don't know the difference, a job is that bullcrap job that you do part-time or that you're working just so that you could pay the bills. I'm not talking about jobs. So when I'm talking about a job, you never put jobs on your resume. I'm talking about your career jobs. I'm talking about you got an accounting degree so you could be an accountant. Don't work that job for 8-9 months and then quit. Don't do it. Don't even think about it. The grass is always greener on the other side. You see that next job and you go, oh man, they pay more. I gotta have that job now. Don't do it. Just don't. And I know this gets into the job hopping discussion, and I'm not going to talk about necessarily job hopping because that's not what this is about. This is about people who really want to build their careers, who have completely destroyed their lives and made it really difficult on themselves because because they won't stay working at a place long enough. So why is it important to work for a certain amount of time for a career job? Well, first of all, you should be looking to work at least 16 months or more. Try to have 2 calendar years. So if it says 2020 at the beginning on your resume, it should say 2022. Now that could be 2.5 years. It could be 1.8 years, whatever it is, as long as the calendar year changes by 2 digits on your resume, that's what you should be working. And so why should you do this? The importance of your career is not only to learn the basics, to learn 60% of your job, but the importance is to learn 85% of your job, is to know your job, is to understand as much of your job as you possibly can. And if it's going to be your career, you need to know the good and the bad and the ugly about the job in your career that you've chosen. And you need to dedicate yourself to 5 years in that career before you decide to change. And so if you go from one job to another job to another job to another job, all within 3 years, you're not going to learn anything about your career. All you're going to learn is that the grass is greener and you can get other jobs elsewhere. And so it's important that you really learn well. The next reason is networking. When you are at a company for a long time, for more than 2 years, people start to become accustomed to you being around. And they've given up on the idea that you're going to leave a long time ago. You know, they've given up a long time ago. By this time, they've built a relationship with you that you can maintain. They become your friends in the workplace, which not only gives you opportunities now, but if a coworker who you get along with gets promoted, then guess what? You're going to get promoted. And if a coworker does end up leaving for another company that's a great company, and they say, hey, we need another accountant, guess what's going to happen? They're going to call you. They're going to call you. And you're going to get a great job where that person is working. And so building those career relationships is super important, and you don't get it if you stay for only a year or less. Another reason to stay for at least 16 months or more, definitely don't quit under a year or get fired under a year, is look, it just looks really bad on a resume. Job seekers get disqualified for their jobs so easy. I can't tell you how many meetings I've been in where, as a hiring manager or as a recruiter, where somebody says, yeah, but did you see their hair? It wasn't combed very well. People get disqualified from jobs super easy for super stupid reasons. Don't give people a reason to disqualify you. Don't. And so if on your resume you only have 1 year, 1 year, 1 year, guess what you're going to do in your next job? You're going to work 1 year. And we know that. We don't have to guess. We know that. And so unless we are super desperate or have a super crappy job and we just need to fill it with somebody, we're not going to hire you. And so I know it's tempting. I know the money is tempting. I know the opportunities are tempting. And I know it works to go from one job to another at the beginning of your career. But eventually it doesn't work anymore. Eventually you create a history that shows a trend that you can't be trusted. That you can't be trusted to work for any length of time that's meaningful for anyone. Now, if your first job, you happen to get hired, you happen to say, well, you know, I've been working for this for 12 months, 14 months, and I now have an opportunity to increase my wages by $30,000, and then you stay at that job for 4 years, you're fine. You're fine. You know, you can get away with it the first time, you can get away with it the second time. By the third or fourth, fifth time that you are attempting to switch and attempting to have somebody hire you when you've been doing nothing but switching jobs over and over and over again, people will catch on and you're losing opportunities. And I already know, because I have disqualified so many people just because of their work history. And I'm not the only one who does it. So please, please, if you really care about your career and you really want to grow and you want to be successful, stay at your job at least 2 years. Okay? At least 2 years. 2 years on the calendar, right? 2 years. That's all you need to do. And I know when you're doing contract work, that's different. Contracting is a lot different. But just stick with it. But in the end, it's you who's going to benefit.